Over the past half a century, Britain's record in manufacturing has been far from impressive. While plenty of famous industrial names have disappeared since the Second World War, only one large new industrial business has been created. JCB was founded in 1945 by Joseph Cyril Bamford. It's grown from a small shed in the Staffordshire countryside to the world's sixth biggest maker of construction machines in units, behind such giants as America's Caterpillar and Komatsu of Japan. The family-owned business now employs 10,000 people, 6,000 of them in the UK, with plants in the United States, India, Brazil and China. Sir Anthony Bamford took over from his father as chairman and managing director in 1975. I asked him what lay behind the company's growth.
There's no secret, there's no special ingredient. We have kept at what we are good at, which is engineering. We've kept to three industries, which are construction, agriculture and industrial. We're a private company. I think that's an ingredient, but it's certainly no secret. I think it's sticking to our last, frankly, and being good at what we do and seeing the world as our market, not just Britain, not just Europe.
He makes it sound simple. So why has the rest of British manufacturing faded so much? Since 1990, the UK's share of world manufacturing output has halved, while the proportion of manufacturing in the economy has fallen by a similar amount, from 23% to just 12%. In Germany, manufacturing still accounts for more than 20% of gross domestic product. Sir Anthony puts the difference down to what's happened to privately owned manufacturing companies.
The Mittelstand type of businesses which don't really exist in Britain, they used to. A lot of them gone out of business. We as a company used to purchase lots of things from Birmingham, from Coventry, Black Country, Sheffield and Manchester, from very good, frequently family-owned, but small specialist businesses. And most of them don't exist anymore. They went out of business in the late 60s and throughout the 70s. And they lost their specialisation. In many cases, they were taken over by bigger groups who then found they were difficult to operate through recessions, and they either abandoned them or they were closed down. We source from 4 or 5 manufacturers in Germany, hydraulic components. There ought to be similar people in Britain making those hydraulic components, and they just don't exist. They have high value added. I mean, you think Germany, that their labour costs are higher than in Britain, but they still manage to be one of the largest exporters. In fact, they were the largest net exporter up until, I think, 3 years ago, largest net exporter in the world.
The chart illustrates the point. JCB is the UK's biggest family-owned maker of industrial products. In Germany, there are 28 private industrial businesses, many of them owned by families or private trusts, either the same size or larger. So what can be done?
Something that politicians ought to grasp is that we are not finished as a manufacturing country. I really don't think we are, but we ought to look to businesses like ourselves or Rolls-Royce near here. Value added is what's important. The labour content needs to be low. I mean, if you want to make shirts where the labour content is, 70%, we can't do that in Britain. But labour content in our sort of product is 5%. And I don't know what it is at Rolls-Royce Aero Engines, but a small percentage. So we still can manufacture successfully in Britain and compete on a world basis. But we really need to identify more businesses like ourselves.
If Britain is really serious about revitalising manufacturing, what kind of policies should the government be instituting?
Look, I think there are all sorts of ingredients. Of course, there's taxation, education. Our educational system is not good enough for engineers. It's not for all sorts of other people. There should be more generous allowances for R&D, and I think there should be capital allowances on investment in plants, in manufacturing particularly. But above all, I think there should be a realisation that Britain can be a manufacturer, and what can they do to help us? The great thing about a business like us, we employ people, we're employing more people, we export, and that helps the country.
Well, anyone who thinks that British manufacturing is dying would find a visit here to JCB in deepest Staffordshire highly instructive. The lessons we can take from JCB is that large British manufacturers in big industries can develop over a period of years, helped by long-term thinking, a lot of steely resolve, and also much investment in advanced engineering design. Of course, the British supply base for components has hollowed out over the past 50 years, and it's impossible to imagine we're going to come back again to a situation where we made all the kinds of things that we did make long ago. But if the British government is interested in constructing a future for Britain where British manufacturing is rather stronger than it is now, then it could do an awful lot worse than to look at JCB as a very good role model. This is Peter Marsh for the Financial Times in Rooster.